Hi, this is Mrs. Naslin here, and we are going to do Unit 5, Lesson 4, Estimate Products. Our learning target for today is I can use estimation and multiplication with tens to check products and solve real-world problems. The vocab we'll be focusing on is estimate and rounding. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we can do two different ways of estimating. We can use rounding, or we can use what we call compatible numbers. And for the most part, we're going to be using rounding, but I'm going to show you the compatible numbers one as well. And we're going to estimate, in this first one, we're going to do 2 times 233. That's a big number. But first, let's look at rounding. All right, so when we look at rounding, it says, step 1, round the greater factor to the greatest place value. So I'm going to look here, 2 or 233. Which one of those is the bigger factor? Well, 233. And when I round, remember we're going to look and we're going to go to the greatest place value. So we're going to round it to the biggest place value. We're going to look at the number behind it. And I'm looking at this, and if it's 5 or under, we're going to go ahead and keep it as the place value that it currently is. So in this case, we're going to turn it into 200. So we're going to do 2 times 200. Okay, now if this was 5 or above, then we would round this up and we would have made it 300. But since it's below 5, we're going to go ahead and just leave it as a 200. So we're going to do 2 times 200. So then we go ahead and solve that, and we're getting really good at doing that. We're going to take our 2 times 2, which we know is 4, and then we're going to add on how many zeros? 2. So our answer here, our rounding would have been 400. Now, compatible numbers are numbers that you can make it so that you can do these problems mentally in your head. So it's an easy number to calculate in your head. So I'm looking at this at 233, and I'm trying to think of a compatible number that I could do in my head. So instead of 233, I'm going to make it 2 times 250, because it's easy for me to do 25 times 2. I just think of my money, my 2 quarters, and I'd get 50, right? 2 25s is 50, and I'd add that 1 0 on it, and I'd get 500. So either 400 or 500 are reasonable estimates to the answer, okay? So that's one example. Let's go ahead and try another here. 27 times 9. All right, so first I'm going to round it, and I'm going to look the number behind it. And this time it is 5 and above, right? So I get to round this number up. So instead of it being 27, I'm going to make it 30. And now I go ahead and think, okay, 9 times 3 is 27 plus my 0. So I would get 270. All right. How about the compatible number? Well, really, I knew 3 times 9. So in this case, I'm going to say it's the same thing. I'm going to say it's 30 because 3 times 9 was easy. That's a fact. We know that is 27. And then we add that 0 on there, we get 270. So in this case, it was really the same. I think this will be the only example that's that way. But every now and then, my compatible number is the same as my rounded number. All right, let's do one more example, and then we'll work on and having you practice a little bit. All right, rounding. So I look at 41, I look at the number behind it, and this time it's under 5. So I'm going to keep it as 40. Instead of rounding it up to 50, I'm going to keep it as 40. And I have to do 4 times 4, which gives me 16, plus my 0, which gives me 160. All right. How about a compatible number to 41? What's an easy number for me to calculate? You know, I'm going to say 50 is easy. So I'll do my 5 times 4, which gives me 20. I can't forget to add on my 1 0 there in the 50, so I get 200. All right, we're going to do one word problem, and then we'll practice here. All right, so it says, Acacia School has 185 students. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this Sometimes these get a little bit hard to see, so let's zoom in. There we go. Keisha School has 185 fourth grade students. The library has 28 tables and 6 chairs at each table. Can all the fourth graders sit in the library at one time? How do you know? So we know we have a total. I'm going to put T for total, of 185 fourth graders. All right. And we have 28 tables. Hard to write on here sometimes. Forgive my handwriting. That's what happens when you write on a computer. 28 tables. And we have 6 chairs. All right. So I'm going to have to multiply. My multiplication problem would be 28 times 6, correct? But we want to estimate that. So again, I'm going to look at the number behind it. It's above 5, so I'm going to round that one to 30. So really I'm doing 30 times 6. All right. What answer would I get when I do 30 times 6? Go ahead and do that calculation there. And then I'll go ahead and do it as well. Let's see, we have 18. 3 times 6 is 18, plus my 0 is 180. So there's 180 chairs, and there's 185 fourth graders. So do we think it's going to work? Probably not, because it's less than that, so they could not all sit down in the library. Some of them would have to stand, right? All right, let's go ahead and do a couple other problems here. And these ones I'm going to have you practice on your own. So again, we're going to estimate the answers. So I'm going to look at 52 here. You look behind it so you get to decide what you're going to round that to, if it's going to stay the same or go up. And then I want you to go ahead and calculate it. So go ahead and figure out what you think the answer is going to be, and then we'll check here. When I calculate it, I'm going to change 52. I look at that, it's less than 5, so it's really going to be 3 times 50. Right, 3 times 50 with an answer of 150. All right, how about this next one here? 9 times 27. Again, I'm going to look at the number behind it. It's bigger than 5, so think about what you're going to make that number. And then go ahead and do your calculations. All right, and I'm going to check it here. I would change that number to 9 times 30 because it's above 5 with an answer of 270. All right, last practice problem. We got 35 here. It's again 5 or above. Let's go ahead and think about what you would do to solve that. I would do 8 times 40 with an answer of 320. Great work. So again, today we talked about how we can estimate products.